Harihi Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. Om शिष्यात्म समर्पण कार्पण्य दोषो उपहत स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्म सम्मूढचेताः यश्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्. Om. So we are in the 19th shloka of Bhagavad Gita. The shloka goes like this. Ya enam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanitah nayam hanti na hanyate. So, in this series of shlokas, we are looking into the properties of what we call the soul, the Atma. In this shloka, Bhagavan says, Ya enam veti hantaram. One who thinks or one who assumes, yah is one who, enam, this refers to the Atma, veti, thinks or assumes in this particular context, or learns or understands it to be so, as hantaram, the one who kills, the killer. Also, yah cha, yah, one who, cha is and, manyate hatam. So, yes chainam, yah cha enam, that is what is making it as yes chainam. So, enam, this, again the Atma, manyate, is thinks or assumes or has an understanding of the Atma to be killed, or that which can be killed, hatam. Ubhau tau, ubhau is both, tau is they, na vijanitah, they are not in the knowledge of, or they are ignorant about the Atman, that na ayam, this, neither it hanti, which is kills, nor it is hanyate, is killed. Very simple, straightforward shloka. Here, Bhagavan merely says, one who thinks that this Atma can get killed, or that the Atma is the killer, both are ignorant, is the simple message that Bhagavan has given in this shloka. Now, this shloka, we say it is referenced from Kathopanishad. There is a small change that it comes, right? In Kathopanishad, the first line will change. Hanta chain manyate hantam, hataschain manyate hatam. The second line remains the same. Ubhautau na vijanito, nayam hantina hanyate. Very, very similar. But we will discuss about this Kathopanishad part later. Right? The basic rule is yah karta saha bhokta. One who is the doer is also the one who enjoys it, or one who suffers it, right? One who experiences it. That is the basic essence of this shloka. So if you analyze it, what we understand is Atma is akarta and abhokta. That this Atma is neither a doer nor one who experiences the benefits or the results of the outcome. So now question is, then who is the doer? Who is the Karta? Can the Anatma be the Karta? No, this body cannot be the Karta. Right? So obviously Atma becomes the Karta. But Atma is defined as a Karta. So who is the Karta? This is the basic question that this shloka leads us towards. Right? So there are only two things. One is Atma and another is Anatma. One is the soul and another is the body. If body, because it is inert, cannot be the doer, and soul, as it is declared in this shloka by Bhagavan as a non-doer, then who is the doer? That is the place where we have to start understanding. Now, Prakriti, which is the manifested, objectified world, is defined as Trigunatmika, is made of three guns. Trigunatmika Maya. Basically, the interactions between the gunas results in transformations. Prakriti, or the manifested world of experience, are dependent on the Purusha. Right? So this is something that has been spoken about in the past also. We have two existence. One is the Atma or the soul, the Sad, Chit and Ananta Amsam, Satchidananda Amsam. And the other is the Prakriti, the world that you are seeing, the objects. Of these two kinds of existence, there is a dependence of the Prakriti on the Atma. As it is established in our Shanti mantra also, Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Right? This is also complete, that is also complete. But that completeness, which is about the world of experience, is dependent or has been created from this completeness. Purnasya Purnamadaya. Then once the completeness is removed from that Purnam, which is from the objects, the soul continues to exist. Purnam eva avashishyate, which is a wholesome, right? The entirety. This is the way that the Veda is trying to create the dependence between the Prakriti and the Purusha. Satyasya Satyam, for example, the truth of the truth. The truth that we experience has a base truth, and that truth is Atma. Is the way there are several places where such explanations have been provided. But because Chaitanyam is kind of, is the bestower of the capabilities in Prakriti, right? The Prakriti is able to have its existence based on the borrowed existence from Atma. That is the basic understanding that we will be going towards. I will repeat it so that it is not confusing. I exist and this body exists. This body has a dependent existence on I, and the I has an independent existence. Now, for this body to exist, the existence is possible only so long as the I is able to provide the support of existence. A natural thing that we know. The moment I die, this body becomes unstable and it just goes along with the Prakriti. Right? So that is the base thing that we take into consideration. Now, let us try to put it like this. Now, we say that this Prakriti is made of three guns. So, for this three guns to have existence, it is depending on the Chaitanya. What are the three guns? Rajogun, Tamogun, and Sattvagun. Now, as one of the gun borrows the existence, the potence in this gun increases. And when it increases, this becomes the driver. As in, Rajogun will be the driver. But because it is a borrowed existence, the potence of this particular gun will continue to fall. And at the same time, there is another borrowing, and the other gun is going to gain a prominence, and that gun will take the priority, be it tamogun or sattvagun. But then it will also fall, and then the other gun will take. So this cycle of change continues to happen among the guns. This results in a change to the normal course, as could be interpreted under logical lens. The change effected by one gun when outpowering the other is called as karma, not right, it is just karma, the action, activity. Effect of the change is not only dependent on the potence, but also the influence of the other two guns. So, for example, if this is in its highest potence, Rajogun, and Sattvagun is here, and Tamogun is here, the effect of it could be different to the Sattvagun being here and Tamogun being here. Right? And as it falls, there will be the other one that takes it up. So this is the way that the entire activity happens. Karma phala, or the fruits of action, is both the direct outcome of karma as well as indirect, which is an eventual result. We call it as apurvata, which is the. So I plant a seed today, and after, say, 3 months, I'm able to harvest the yield from that plant. This duration between planting and the harvesting, we can call it as apurvata. Right? That can change. I'm doing some, dan right now. But for me to get the phalam of the dan, it may take a long time between the time of the karma and the karma phala. That time duration is defined to be apurvata. Now we continue to experience the outcome of this karma and the eventual outcome of the karma in our experience. So this is a pretty straightforward one. We have various three guns, which is what is Prakriti. These three guns rise and fall. As they rise and fall, they engage in some kind of a natural output. This natural output can be either immediate or it could be delayed or over a period of time. But the output will be there. And this cycle continues. And as the cycle continues, we experience activities or changes. Okay, so this is what is the way the world functions. And Bhagavan will say later, right? Guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. Right? These jnanis, they understand that it is basically the guns that are interacting with each other. I am not interacting. The I, because I am associating myself with the Atma, I become liberated from the influence of that gun. Right? That is the basic realization that these people have. Taking the same here, the karma yielding its phalam is again a very natural cycle, and this karma happened because of the influences of one gun over the other. Going further, so let us look at what is karma, karta, and bhokta. Now, the base rule is every karma will have karma phalam. But every karma phalam is not experienced. There is generally no bhokta unless a karta is behind it. The karma will continue. The activities, the change in the Prakriti will continue. But the experience of the change will not have any bearing on the Prakriti, but it will have the bearing on the Karta. Okay, because a Karta thinks that he is the doer, when actually it is the Prakriti which is naturally undergoing the changes and going through. Okay, so we can summarize it like karma is the nature of Prakriti. Every karma has karma phalam, which could be immediate or over a period of time, but not every karma phalam is an object of experience. For something to become an object of experience, there must be a karta behind it. This is the most important piece to understand. Karma is a natural effect of Prakriti Swabhavam, but is induced by the dependence on the Chaitanya Amsam of Atma. Okay? So, once again, I will repeat it because it has got such a subtlety behind it. This is naturally, there is naturally an action happening, but Prakriti is not acting independently as well. Prakriti is acting based on the potence of one of the guns. It has got 3 guns, and based on the potence of one gun over the other 2, the action takes place. This can also be told as Prakriti taking the Chaitanyam from the Satchitanandam, from the Atman, is engaging in an action. It can be interpreted that way. But the moment such an interpretation takes place, the karta is born. So going into the next one, karta or bhokta, this brings us to the term of karta. Now, because of the dependence on Chaitanyam, and remember, the Prakriti is not based on the entirety of the Atma. Okay, in fact, it says that Prakriti is 1/4 and Purusha is 3/4. Right, Purusha Suktam, if you take, that is the way that the Veda describes it. Don't take it exact by measurement because none of them can be measured as well. But the fact is, the potential aspect is always much larger than the manifested aspect. Right? So, when you look at it from that point of view, the Chaitanya Amsam, which enabled a particular gun to gain its prominence, has the possibility of failing to look at the whole and develop the experience of I am the doer. That experience is when Chaitanya Amsam thinks the karam is done by the Chaitanya Amsam or feels what has happened in the manifestation is right or wrong. There is a division that this Chaitanya Amsam creates within its own self. I hope you are able to follow this, right? This is the whole, and the Prakriti, or one aspect, is borrowing something from here and is performing something. This borrowed Chaitanya Amsam, because it is Chaitanyam, it has that capability of being able to understand, or and so on, has a potential to misunderstand the Prakriti which underwent an action as I. You understand? This is the whole of Prakriti, of the Purusha or of Atman. And a small portion of it is now thinking that I have done this change, or this change is wrong, this should not have been done. When such kind of a thought arises within the Chaitanyam, that which did not see the Chaitanyam as a whole becomes an individual entity. And this leads to the birth of Jivan. We very famously quote the Puranic story in which Bhrigu Maharaj comes to Vishnu, and because Vishnu will be sleeping, he will get angry and he will kick him on the chest. While Lord Vishnu will get up and start pressing his legs, asking him whether he hope he was not hurt, etc. Lakshmi gets angry, right? This anger is expressed as a judgmental, becoming judgmental about what is right and what is wrong. That right and wrong is the division which makes Lakshmi to be born in the earth. That is the way the Puranic story goes. The depth behind that is this Amsam. If she was still in the wholesomeness of the Chaitanyam, that wouldn't have arisen at all to say this is right or this is wrong. Rather, it would have continued to be the one which blesses the Prakriti, and not the one who becomes judgmental about what happened in Prakriti is right or wrong. As soon as that division takes place, this wholesome called as Atma emerges as you and I. This is what happens in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also. There it is just told as Hiranyagarbha was kind of, he was feeling bored because he was alone. And then he said, okay, let me create one more from my own self. And he creates. And as soon as he creates, he is affected by the samsara. Dvitiyate bhayam bhavati is the way that mantra goes there. That division is to be understood in this shloka. Now, once this Jivan has been created, what does the Jivan do? The Jivan places an anubhavam, an experience of I am the doer. In other words, Prakriti is going about in its own way. The gunas are going up and down. But the moment I become a Jivan, I start attributing me to be the cause of something that has happened. You can think about it from this point of view too. There are so many things that you are part of, but you do not associate yourself to all the things that are happening in the world. However, there are some events, whether you are involved or not, you try to own it up. Right? Somebody has written the code, it is getting a recognition, you say, yeah, I have also contributed to it, or I created this. You did not, even from the normal logical sense, you were not part of that karma at all, but you try to own it up. And there are some places where you actually are the karta and you own it up. Whenever such a thing happens, either of them, no matter what it is. Again, when I said you are the karta, I mean to say that this amsam has contributed to that particular karma. Right? So, from that sense, as soon as I put an ownership behind that karma, then I become the karta. As soon as I become a karta, I become a bhokta too. Right? So, here I have written this placing of ahambhava could happen prior to the karma as the initiator, or as one who owns up to the karma, whether or not there was an intent before the karma. Right? So, no matter how it is, as soon as you put the ownership, it is immaterial whether it is accepted by the rest of the world or not. As soon as you put the ownership to some action behind it, you become the karta. So indirectly, we can say the Chaitanyam is the karta. However, not the Chaitanyam in its pure Chaitanya form, but in a Jivatma Bhavam, in the expression of being a Jivan. Who is a Jivan? One who has, by virtue of circumstances, separated himself or this soul from the true oneness of the soul. Right? Place when the anubhavam contemplates of this is correct, this is incorrect, this will give us the pleasure or the pain. Right? And that is the kind of experience that one gets out of becoming a karta. And this whole cycle is called as samsara. Okay? And remember, whenever I said karta, there is a apurvata that is associated with it. Right? Some you may see the results immediately, and some you may not. And especially if in case you put it in the three sharir, which is sthulam, sukshmam, and karanam, you will see that the time duration for a effect to give, or for one to become, or for one to experience the outcome is going to differ, is going to change. And hence, this is called as samsara bandham, a bondage of dualistic experiences, which is what is samsara. Now, what is the relevance, shloka's relevance? Bhagavan emphasizes that Atma, the soul, the I, the subject, is neither killed nor kills. That Atma is neither a karta nor a bhokta. So to understand what is meant by this karta bhokta, we had to look at what is karma. So in this shloka, Bhagavan, or even in by the Yamadharma Raja in Kathopanishad, the term Hanta and Hantaram are taken because of the circumstances. He is the Lord of Death, so he has taken that as the quote. And here the Arjuna and Krishna are standing in the war front, and hence it is given by Bhagavan as a direct reference. There are some traditions who attribute the karta and bhokta to the Chitta Bhasam. What is Chitta Bhasam? I said that there is the Atma, there is the Prakriti. Prakriti has, Prakriti has a dependent existence on the Atma or on the Purusha. This dependent existence is also seen something like how the light reflects on a body of object. If it is reflecting on a mirror, it has got higher potential. Whereas if it is reflecting on a rock, it has a lower potential. Right? That is the example that we give. That aspect of reflecting, especially from the manaha, is said to be the Chitta Bhasam. Abhasam means the mirror image. Right? And Chittam or Chaitanyam is the word. That which reflects the Chaitanyam is Chitta Bhasam. Right, and that Chitta Bhasa Amsam is the one which makes you experience and learn and all those things in you. And because they give a Karta Swarupam to the Manaha, which is reflected as the Chaitanyam in the body, they put Manaha, which is part of Sharir, to be the Karta. We do not subscribe to that. Manaha is achetanam. So manaha cannot be the karta. And they also agree that manaha is achetanam as something which is inert. Achetanam means inert. So that which is inert cannot be the karta. They understand it as well. But they put the value of the reflection of the Chaitanyam in the manaha as the karta. The counter is the Chaitanya Abhasa Amsam of Manaha reflects the same concept, which could mean just expressions are different. Here, when we were discussing about it, the concept was, well, I agree with you. I think we are talking the same thing, just using two different words. If that is the case, if somebody is speaking from that point of view to say that, hey, the Chaitanya Amsam, which typically refers to the manaha, is not manaha, it is the jivan, then we are on the same page. Except that the definition of the jivan, it has still not yet been confirmed or clarified. What is jivan in your point of view, and what is jivan as we have just defined, and how the jivan is no different to Chaitanyam, whereas from from a Purva Paksha point of view, how Jivan could be seen as different. I think this is a very difficult concept. So I'm going to take a small break here, Ravi Bhaiya, and just check with you to say if it is too confusing, it is okay. We will talk about it all through the Bhagavad Gita class. But I have tried my best to put as, what do you say, as simplified as possible, the intrinsic aspect. So do you have any questions at this point?
Uncle Ji, I've heard this like many times, and many questions I've asked you, and we have gone through this like iterations like numerous times. It still goes above my head. But I think I'm understanding the concept now, and it resonates when I listen numerous times. It resonates what I'm thinking, so I think I'm okay. But nonetheless, I will ask you 20 more times about this thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But that is the reason I wanted to really take a break here.
Okay.
Now, continuing on this, let us go into the Acharya's Bhashyam. Acharya puts it as Richo Aninaya. Right? He says Richo Aninaya as in this verse is actually cited. Shankaracharya doesn't say from where it is cited and what those are. But in our tradition, we go into it to say what it is. The Shloka number 19 and Shloka number 20 of Bhagavad Gita is taken from Kathopanishad. In Gita, the Kathopanishad mantras comes with minor variations. Now, Kathopanishad has 2 chapters having 3 sections called Valli in each of them. What happens is, in this, the Upanishad starts with a small story. There will be a person by name Vajashravas who would be performing a yajna called as Vishwajit Yajna. As per the rules of that yajna, at the end of yajna, all that is left is donated or is given as dan. He will be giving the dan, and one of the dan will be a very, dying kind of a cow, right, which is very skinny and it is not milk-bearing cow, but it will be in a hard one, but he will give that also. So Nachiketa goes and asks him, right? We'll ignore the story. The question that he asks is, okay, if the rule is everything that you have, you should give it away. I am also yours, so whom are you giving it to me? His father will become very, he is out of irritation or whatever he says, okay, I'm giving you to the Yama Dharmaraja, to the Lord of Death. So he says, okay, now that you have given, I cannot be here, and he goes to Yama Dharmaraja. When he reaches the place of Yamadharmaraja, Yamadharmaraja would have gone out. He will not be in his palace. The people in the Yamadharmaraja, in that loka, Yamaloka, will ask him to come inside. He says, no, I have been given as a dan, so I cannot come inside. I have to surrender myself to Yama. And so he will stay outside for 3 days. After 3 days, Yama comes back. And seeing this and learning or understanding about what has happened, he says, I will give you 3 boons. In the first boon, he will say, reunite me with Father, who will be free of anger and accept me when I return from death. That will be his first boon. The second boon is that yajna that will lead one to Swargaloka. Can you explain? Can you clearly tell me what it is? And Yamadharmaraja says what that yajna is, and Nachiketa will be very carefully listening to it. And after Yamadharmaraja completes it, Nachiketa will repeat it in the same way properly, which means he has fully put his attention to hearing. Right. So Yamadharmaraja will be very impressed with him, and he will give him lots of ornaments and other gifts as well. Then for the third boon, he asks about the concept of soul after death. And Yamadharmaraja says this is very subtle and asks Nachiketa to choose something else. But Nachiketa says, hey, if you are willing to give so many things, that means the one that I am asking is more valuable than all these things put together. So I only want that. Right? Now, hearing this, he will start the Upadesh, saying that you have the Vairagyam and the capability in you, which was established in the second boon, right? So he has that ability to learn and also a vairagya, which is being dispassionate about any kind of a greed in you. So he will start giving the knowledge on the soul, the Atma Gyan. At this point, the first valli of the first adhyaya concludes. In the second valli, the Upadesh from Yamadharmaraja starts, and this is where you will see this mantra. The second valli of the first adhyaya, Yamadharmaraja gives the Upadesh on Atma, and in the mantra number 19 and 18, see, I'm just going 19 and 18. It is just to align myself with the 19 and 20 of Bhagavad Gita. Right? So here the 19th and the 18th mantras are given with small variances. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 19, which we are looking now, Bhagavan says, Ya enam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam. Right? The second line remains the same. Whereas in Kathopanishad, it comes as Hanta chen manyate hantum, hatas chen manyate hatam. And the 20th verse in Bhagavad Gita, which is the 18th mantra in the 1.2 of Kathopanishad, it goes like this. In Bhagavad Gita, it is न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः. The second line remains the same. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranah na hanyate hanyamane sharire. In Kathopanishad, the first line will come as Najayate mriyate va vipaschit. That is the only chain. Instead of kadachit, it is vipaschit. And in the second portion of the first line, Nayam kutaschinna. Nayam kutaschinna bhabhuva kaschit. That is the way in Kathopanishad it goes. In terms of what they mean or what they convey, the message is exactly the same. So we are not going to analyze the mantra, but what I wanted to emphasize is these two are the reflection of the dhyana shloka that we go through. Sarvopanishado gavo dogda gopalanandana. To say that Bhagavad Gita is the saram of the Upanishad, this is given as a reference. And that is why we spoke about it right now. Going into the Bhashyam, right? Ye enam prakritim dehinam veti janati. So here in all these places, he is basically trying to define what has been said. So instead of reading this one through, let us understand what Acharya has said in his Bhashyam. So he says that one who thinks they are killers of Atma, as in one who thinks he is the doer. Hanana Kriya Kartaram is the way Shankaracharya would have put it. I didn't read the Sanskrit words of Shankaracharya, but that is what he says. Hanana Kriya Kartaram, of killing. Or one who thinks, if my body is destroyed, I have been killed. In this manner, both are ignorant due to lack of intelligence about the concept called I. The reflection here is the concept called I is neither a karta, as in a doer, nor not a karma, nor a karma, or the action. Karta, and he was not part of the action as well. Acharya further clarifies that both of the above have no awareness of the true Atma Swarupam, the fundamental nature of Atma. And because Atma has no vikar, right? He says it very clearly that because there is no change associated with Atma, neither it kills anyone nor it gets killed. Meaning, neither Atma is the karta of a Hanana Kriya in this example, nor the action as in the object of the action or karma. That is the way that he explains the shloka. And then he introduces the 20th shloka here. He says, Khatam avikriya atma iti dvitiyo mantraha. Right? So we saw the introduction earlier. This is the second mantra from Kathopanishad. Right? So that is the way that he says. That is bringing Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita together. So with this, we can go into the 20th shloka. As you can see, the chandas is changing here. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. So as you see, when we are chanting it as a shloka, instead of kadachin, I would have used kadachit. It is not wrong. It is just the traditional way of expression. Right? Similarly, ajo nitya shashvato yam purano will become puranaha. Right? Once again, it is just the tradition which chants it in specific way. There are some traditions which chants it as na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. It does not change the meaning in any way, and it is just a grammatical break that we do of the words, and hence use of the kadachit or purano is puranaha is absolutely correct in terms of the grammatical rules applied in such renditions. Okay, so you will find such variances coming in. Just came to my mind. I thought I will let you know to say why is it that I say kadachit instead of kadachin. Okay, we will take a break here and go into the 20th chapter, 20th shloka in our next class. Because this is again a very beautiful and a very deep philosophical thing, right? And it'll be good if in case we can revisit this concept, so that that repetition, the abhyasam, is going to help us totally get it engraved in our mind and allow it to grow and evolve in us. Okay. Well, given that, we will take leave here today and connect again in our next week. And I know you are not here next week. You are in Toronto, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Well, getting on to the Q&As. Do you have any questions, comments?
No, Uncle Ji, I just have one comment. Remember at the puja, we're discussing about this, that I called a class and you called it a Shravanam. And I exactly believe this is what it is, because the more I listen to it, the more it registers with me. So
Yep.
so I appreciate the right terminologies and all that things that you are putting together, this effort. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Uncle Ji. Thank you, Guru.
Yeah, thank you, Bhiya. Yes, we, as I said, it is just the way that it is practiced, right, in traditions. Right, classes where an object is introduced. Shravanam is an exercise that we take to go in the path of Jnana Marga, go in the path of self-realization.
Yes.
Right, so that is why we use the term Shravanam. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we will take leave today. Harihi Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnad Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.